working on that Pokemon card ranked review series. Just finished another installment to keep myself busy with that terrible blizzard going on out there. No ice Pokemon this time, but a good mix of grass and ground types, as well as a fossil card. So let's get started.
61. Wartortle. While Squirtle relied on more defensive strategy, Wartortle goes for a more powerful approach. It still is withdrawal, but at least they got it right this time and it costs less than its main attack, meaning there's actually a small window of opportunity to use it before you have enough energy to power up Bite. If only Bite was all colorless like Charmeleon Slash, it would be more versatile, but that one water energy cost holds it back. At least it's more powerful than Vine Whip and has a little more HP than Ivysaur to make Wartortle an alright second stage. Unfortunately, withdrawal hinders its usability. If it kept Squirtle's bubble instead, it'd be far more effective as it could both damage and stall your opponent while you power up Bite. Even with withdrawal, it's certainly not bad, but honestly you're probably better off sticking a Pokemon breeder on Squirtle to get Blastoise. 60. Persian. Persian improves on Meowth's complete lack of power, mainly by actually being able to do things. Scratch costs the same as Payday, but while there's no longer the possibility to get the extra card, it now does 20 damage. Regardless, Pounce is the move to focus on. For 1 extra energy it does 10 damage more and protects Persian from 10 damage as well, so its effect can slightly prolong Persian's lifespan, which is a good thing. Its 70 HP is pretty good, but just doesn't have enough power or distinction to make it worthwhile putting in most decks. However, its previously mentioned credentials coupled with its resistance and free retreat costs make Persian a respectable normal type to consider utilizing. 59. Sandslash. What other moves does Sandslash have than Slash? Unfortunately, a 20 damage 2 energies cost attack isn't really enough to make it stand out. Fury Swipes is much better and makes Slash largely unnecessary. Since it will either do 0, 20, 40, or 60 damage, there's only a 25% chance it'll end up doing less damage than Slash. So unless you consider yourself incredibly unlucky, you know which attack you should stick with. There's some potential in Sandslash to do some decent damage and survive a few turns with an alright HP and electric resistance, but its blandness and average strength make it just like Persian, understandable why it's often overlooked. 58. Nidorina. While Nidorina female starts off the evolutionary line with vast potential, Nidorina just kinda stagnates it. With only 10 HP more than her first stage and 2 average attacks, she isn't going to be too sought after. Supersonic is a handy, low cost effective stall. Even though it does no damage, if you can confuse your opponent early, it'll give you plenty of time to power up Double Kick, which is a meh attack. It has the potential to do 60 damage. When you think about it, you're paying 3 energies to do an average of 30, which is nothing special. Nidorina is definitely superior to Nidorino, but we'll see if Nidoqueen can best Nidoking. 57. Rhydon. When just looking at Rhydon and its numbers, you would think it'd be one of the strongest cards in the game, but on closer inspection, it's only slightly above average. It still keeps Rhyhorn's Horn Attack, which thankfully is a near colorless cost. The wall of text that comes with using Ram is cumbersome, and since both conditions are rather annoying, it really makes you wish it would just do 50 damage and nothing else. The 20 damage it does to yourself is risky, but fortunately Rhydon has a huge HP pool to take from. After using Ram, your opponent gets to switch their card, which may be a benefit for you, but most likely after dealing 50 damage, you just want to finish that card off, which is frustrating. However, with an incredibly high HP, a resistance, and a potential for tremendous damage, Rhydon is certainly no slouch. Its large energy costs hold it back, but against a card with a fighting resistance, Ram is a better option to have than Rhyhorn's Leer, as you won't be able to ever win a battle leering your opponent to death. Rhydon is an alright card when you need power and stamina, just not when you're short on energy. 56. Flareon. The Eevee evolutions were very easy to determine which is the best, middle, and worst card with near certain accuracy, especially since 2 out of 3 of them are incredibly uninspired, watered-down versions of the stronger cards in their typing from the original card set. Anyway, Flareon is the worst of the bunch. Sorry to say. It's not bad at all, but it's worse than the other two, and worse than the other strong fire users. Quick Attack is there for the lengthy time needed to power up its underwhelming special attack. Flamethrower is just inferior to the power of Ninetales Fire Blast, and has the same energy consumption that Charmeleon's or Arcanine's Flamethrower uses, but requires more energy to fire off. 60 damage for 4 energies and having an energies card isn't terrible, but here's the bottom line. It's outclassed by these 3 cards in both ways it matters. Doing 10 extra damage isn't really worth the extra energy card, especially when Flareon has slightly less HP than both Charmeleon and Arcanine, while Ninetales' 80 damage attack means there's a potential to take out bigger threats, including Flareon, in 1 hit. If there weren't 3 superior fire options to choose from, Flareon would be ranked higher, but being outclassed, even slightly, means there's no reason to use it when there are better cards that do the same thing either cheaper or stronger. Even ignoring the other fire types, just an above average card doesn't have enough HP or attack power to warrant powering up those 4 constant energies you'll need. Maybe with an original move that's worth the energy, Flareon would be viable, but as is, there are too many better options readily available. 55. Pincer. Pincer is a more buff version of Tangela. It's got an acceptable HP and 2 alright attacks, but just isn't fast or sturdy enough to make powering up a brilliant idea. Iron Grip might be worth the 2 energies in a pinch, but Guillotine is only there to entice you, and even if you manage to find the 4 energies with its 60 HP, you'll be dead after 1, maybe 2 Guillotines. And unlike the video game, it's not an instant KO here, more like a powerful dent in most cards. For a first stage, it has the potential to be very useful, but it still pales in comparison to Scyther. 54. Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is something of a gamble. Playing him early on is almost a guaranteed mistake as he's situationally worse than many first stage Pokemon in a one-on-one battle. However, he's often the better card against many second and third stage because of his Pokemon power. For example, Charmeleon and Charizard would be absolutely powerless against Mr. Mime, as they could never land the high damage attack on him due to his invisible wall effect. They could also never cause Pokemon power to stop working. Same thing with Venusaur, Blastoise, pretty much every other third stage Pokemon does more than 20 damage. However, Mr. Mime has very low health and a slow to pay off attack that really only works on the previously mentioned strong cards that can't defeat him. As soon as his Pokemon power stops working, it's all over for poor Mr. Mime, to the point he should be carefully considered. While he sounds tempting to use against powerhouses, many cards do 20 or less damage or cause status inflictions. This makes Mr. Mime a risky choice a great deal of the time, but in the right situation, he can turn your opponent's best cards to complete laughingstocks. 53. Magneton. The idea of gluing 3 Magnemites together should have boasted more power in theory, but Magneton is basically only twice as strong as its previous stage. The base set version is one of the worst rares from its set with a laughably low HP, so the only thing it can do well is kill itself, and even that's not all that impressive with a final move. I'll rank and review the fossil version because it's unarguably superior. The fossil version improves with 20 more HP and 20 more self-destruct damage. Sonic Boom is no better or worse than the base set version's Thunder Shock. Since Sonic Boom isn't affected by weakness, it has potential to miss out on super effective damage, but not being affected by resistance can be a valuable asset against cards like Rhydon and Dugtrio. Regardless, self-destruct is not something you want to be on the receiving end of, because that 100 damage is enough to knock out nearly every Pokemon. That 20 damage each bench Pokemon is substantial enough to really speed up the match, as any Pokemon affected will last significantly shorter. With effective planning on your part, Magneton has the ability to cripple an opponent's full bench, but until it's ready to do that, it's just an okay card. Still, it's definitely an underlooked electric type. 52. Amistar. Amistar isn't the worst mysterious fossil Pokemon at least, but it's still by no means great for a final stage Pokemon. Its Water Gun is disappointingly weak, and for an extra energy it does 10 damage more on Ammonites. Spike Can is usually a better option than Water Gun, until you decide to stick 3 or 4 Water Energies on Amistar, which wouldn't be the worst idea given its relatively high HP. Though 4 energies or 40 damage isn't exactly the threatening attack you'd expect from a prehistoric monster. While Amistar is leagues better than Kabutops, it's also leagues behind final stage water types like Blastoise and Poliwrath. It's a satisfactory card by all means, but given it and its brethren's disappointing power, it's no surprise these Pokemon became extinct.
Series now officially 2/3 of the way done, which means only 51 more cards to rank and review. Next list will have some great cards for sure. Remember to like, subscribe, and get ready for the new installment. See you then.